For the first time in more than 350 years, police walked up to the home of a senior member of the British royal family and made an arrest. On the morning of February the 19th, 2026, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the brother of the king, was taken into custody. By the end of the day, officers were searching royal properties. The world's cameras were trained on Windsor, and a single question was hanging over Buckingham Palace. Who is really in charge now? Because here is what almost nobody is saying out loud. The arrest of Andrew may turn out to be less important than what it revealed about the men standing behind him. An aging king fighting cancer, a son who has spent years preparing for exactly this moment, and a quiet, steady transfer of real power that is happening right now in front of us, even though the crown has not changed heads. Today we are going to look closely at three things. What the Andrew scandal actually exposed about the royal family, how Prince William has stepped into the center of the storm, and why so many royal watchers now believe the future of the monarchy is being shaped less by the king and more by the heir. We will also separate what is genuinely confirmed from what is only rumor, because in this story, that line matters more than ever. Let's get into it. Start with the moment that changed everything. On the 19th of February, Thames Valley Police arrested Andrew Mountbatten Windsor on suspicion of misconduct in public office. This was not a tabloid headline or an anonymous claim. It was confirmed by the BBC, by Reuters, and by virtually every major news organization in the world. The investigation centered on documents from the recent release of the Epstein files, which appeared to show that Andrew, during his years as a British trade envoy around 2010 and 2011, had forwarded confidential government reports to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He was held for roughly 11 hours and then released under investigation, meaning he has been neither charged nor cleared. To understand how big this is, you have to understand the history. You cannot arrest a working royal. So before any of this could happen, Andrew had to be pulled apart from the institution piece by piece. He stepped back from public duties years ago after a disastrous television interview about his friendship with Epstein. He lost his military affiliations. And in October of 2025, he was stripped of his royal titles entirely, eventually giving up the Duke of York title and moving out of his grand home, Royal Lodge, to a quieter property on the Sandringham estate. By the time the police came, he was no longer a prince at all. He was simply a man named Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And that careful, painful separation did not happen by accident. According to multiple royal commentators, one person pushed for it harder and earlier than almost anyone else. That person was Prince William. This is where the real story begins. For years, reporting from royal biographers and palace correspondents has suggested that William wanted decisive action on Andrew long before it came. The instinct of the older generation, shaped by the late Queen Elizabeth, was to stay quiet, to let courts and time do their work, and to avoid public comment at all costs. William reportedly saw that approach as dangerous. He believed that protecting the reputation of the monarchy had to come before protecting any single family member, even a blood relative. When the arrest finally came in 2026, that long-held instinct looked like foresight. Royal expert Gareth Russell told Us Weekly that the king's response was, in his words, completely unambiguous, and that it served as vindication for both William and Queen Camilla, who had felt for some time that tougher action against Andrew was overdue. Hold on to that detail, because it matters later. According to that reporting, William and Camilla were on the same side of the Andrew question, not opposite sides. So how did the king himself respond? Within hours of the arrest, Charles released a short, striking public statement. He said he had learned of the news with the deepest concern, and he made his position plain. The law, he said, must take its course. He added that it would not be right for him to comment further, and that his family would continue in their duty and service. It was, by royal standards, an extraordinary statement. A king effectively stepping aside and letting the police investigate his own brother. with what the palace described as full cooperation, including the searching of royal properties. But notice what Charles did not do. He did not lead the public fight. He did not become the face of the family's response. Royal expert Gareth Russell described the statement as unprecedented, and Fox News Digital reported that William and Kate quietly supported the king's message rather than releasing statements of their own. On the surface, that looks like unity. Look closer and you see something else. The king set the tone in a single careful paragraph and then stepped back. The day-to-day management of the crisis, the strategy, the long game, increasingly belongs to the next generation. And this is the part of the story we have to handle honestly, because here the confirmed facts end and the speculation begins. A wave of reports, many from gossip-driven outlets, has claimed that William is now effectively seizing control of the monarchy. One report suggested that a transition is already underway, that William is, in one source's phrase, not negotiating but enforcing. Another claimed that William has been blocking Andrew from even meeting privately with the king. These stories are vivid, and they feed a powerful narrative of a young heir taking the reins from a weakened father. But you should treat them with care. They rest largely on unnamed insiders and entertainment sources, not on confirmed palace statements. They may capture something true about the mood inside the family. They may also be exaggerated for clicks. The honest answer is that we do not know. What we can say, based on solid reporting, is this. Serious royal experts, not just tabloids, genuinely believe William's influence is growing. Writing for Rolling Stone, longtime royal correspondent Duncan Larcombe described the situation as uncharted territory for the family, with no clear sense of where it ends. Other commentators have pointed out that William has been instrumental in distancing the monarchy from Andrew. So the broad idea that power is flowing toward William is not invented. It is the speculation about exactly how far, how fast, and how forcefully that should be taken with caution. Now layer in the king's health, because it sits underneath all of this like a foundation. Charles was diagnosed with cancer in early 2024, less than 2 years into his reign. He has continued his treatment while carrying out his duties. And reports throughout 2025 and into 2026 have described his condition in serious terms. He became king at 73, the oldest person ever to take the British throne, after waiting his entire life for the role. The cruel irony is impossible to miss. He finally has the crown, and yet his time to wear it may be shorter than anyone hoped. In that light, every transfer of responsibility to William, from issuing royal warrants to managing crises, reads less like ambition and more like preparation. A father teaching his son the job while he still can. So where does the Camilla controversy fit in, the one promised in so many dramatic headlines? Here we have to be especially careful, because this is where rumor runs furthest ahead of fact. Story, as told mainly by gossip outlets, goes like this. Queen Camilla has a decades-long friendship with Sarah Ferguson, the former wife of Andrew. Sarah Ferguson's name also appears in correspondence connected to Epstein, which has made her a politically toxic figure for the family. According to outlets like Radar Online, William has pushed hard for a complete break from anyone connected to Andrew's circle, and is said to disagree sharply with Camilla over her loyalty to her old friend. Some versions of the story escalate this into a full ultimatum, with William supposedly demanding that Camilla publicly cut ties or damage the monarchy's image. It is a dramatic tale, but step back and look at what is actually verified, and a very different picture emerges. As we noted earlier, serious reporting suggested that Camilla and William were aligned on Andrew, both wanting firmer action. There is no confirmed, on-the-record evidence of an ultimatum, no verified quote of an angry confrontation, no palace statement of a feud. What exists is speculation, built on the real and well-known fact of Camilla's friendship with Sarah Ferguson, and stretched into a story of internal war, because conflict is more exciting than cooperation. The most responsible thing any honest commentator can say is that there may be tension over these friendships, but the explosive feud described in the loudest headlines has not been proven. The same caution applies to the endless talk of a rivalry between Kate and Camilla. What is documented is far gentler than the rumors. After the arrest, Kate and William publicly supported the king. Kate has steadily become one of the most visible and trusted figures in the family, especially after her own difficult cancer journey in 2024, from which she has thankfully recovered and returned to public life. The idea that she is locked in a bitter personal battle with the Queen, glaring across rooms and undermining her, comes overwhelmingly from gossip sources, not from anything confirmed. It may make for a gripping thumbnail. It is not the same as truth. So let's pull the threads together and ask the real question. What does all of this actually mean for the future of the monarchy? Strip away the rumor, and a clear and genuinely significant picture remains. The British royal family has just survived the most serious crisis of Charles's reign, the first arrest of a senior royal in centuries. The king, aging and unwell, responded with restraint and then receded into the background. The heir, William, has spent years arguing for exactly the kind of decisive separation from scandal that the moment demanded, and his approach now looks vindicated. Power, real working power over the direction of the family, is visibly shifting toward the next generation, even though the crown itself has not moved. This is the part that is not gossip. It is structural. William has made no secret of wanting a smaller, more accountable, more modern monarchy. He has spoken openly about change being on his agenda, while admitting how hard it is to change an institution whose entire purpose is to represent continuity. He has run his charitable foundation and his Cornwall estate like modern organizations, with clear leadership and public accountability, and many expect him to bring that same mindset to the throne. The Andrew scandal has only sharpened his core belief. No person, no matter how close, can be allowed to put the institution at risk. And so the monarchy is quietly reinventing itself in real time. Charles is the king, but William increasingly sets the strategy. Camilla is the queen, but Kate is steadily becoming one of the most influential figures in the family. The old generation still holds the titles. The new generation is increasingly holding the steering wheel. Whether that transition is smooth or tense, gradual or sudden, may be the defining royal story of the next few years. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think William is right to insist on a clean break from anyone touched by scandal, even at the cost of family loyalty? Do you believe the reports of deep tension inside the palace, or do you think the press is inventing a war that isn't really there? And the big one, could the strain of all this push Charles to hand over more of his reign to William sooner than anyone expected? Share your honest thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those rare moments where history is genuinely being written as we watch. If you found this breakdown clear and fair, and you appreciate that we separate what is confirmed from what is only rumor, then do consider subscribing. The story of this family is far from over, and there are many more chapters still to come.